Whether you love or hate his addition, Incineroar brings one thing to the table, that being hype. The character was designed to rile up the crowd with his auto taunts, do insane damage per hit, and was given the chance to make comebacks in almost any situation with his revenge. Incineroar gives us a pure powerhouse of a grappler finally into Ultimate, and brings something that we never really had before in a Smash game.
With Incineroar being new to Smash, it's difficult to say exactly how good he is. Now, one would expect that he'd be pretty ineffective considering how most slow, big characters with bad recoveries are. The thing is, while he does struggle a lot sometimes in these aspects, if he can get the ball rolling, get a lead, and keep the pressure up as much as he possibly can, he can actually get results, as seen by a lot of players at majors and regionals since the game's release. The thing that makes Incineroar so scary is his pure power and his ability to slowly add a little bit more and more pressure onto his opponent's mind from the threat of being hit very early and dying super early. He's a character that in many cases will be kind of inconsistent, but as well can swing the games both in his favor and I guess in the opponent's favor. If you get used to that swing though and know how to control it, how to use that pressure from your own experience for yourself however, you're going to be finding a lot of future success with Incineroar while you're playing him, while you're learning him, and while you're using him.
For more future information on Incineroar, hit subscribe as I'll be giving any updated information on him, and of course every other character in Smash Ultimate to boot as time goes on, along with more advanced tips on Incineroar. Anyways, here I'm going to be going over the most important things / the best parts about the character, and I won't be going over every single part about the character's frame data, but that'll all be linked down in the description below if you want to read up on it. Anyways, Incineroar was made with the basics of a super heavyweight definitely in mind. He's slow, big, and heavy, but also equipped with some strong large hitboxes that all pack a punch. He has extreme power that in some cases can actually overpass all the other heavyweights, and overall is somewhat basic in design as far as his attacks go, but far from basic in his character. One thing Sakurai didn't forget to give Incineroar is power, and specifically a ton of kill moves. From back air, to forward air, to down air, to back throw, to side B, to down, up, and side smash, he has a ton of ways to end stocks. And while they may be kind of hard to land, and honestly, may be kind of risky to even go for, if he can sneak in a hit, you'll be finding a kill as this character at around 80 to 110% almost every single time. Now, with all this power in mind, I have to remind you that he does have a really bad problem about him, that being his speed. Overall, his movement is a lot slower than the other heavies, and actually, he's honestly one of the slowest characters in the entire game, which hurts him a lot. Now, even though he is, mobility-wise, one of the slowest characters in the game, a lot of its tilts and aerials actually, though, aren't that slow, and still keep the traditional range of a heavyweight. His down tilt and up tilt all have a good amount of range, come up pretty quick, and combo into smashes at early presents or aerials at later. And speaking of those aerials, they actually come out fast enough, deal good damage, and put the enemy into very disadvantageous positions. And while you can't always necessarily, catch up every single time you put someone into a bad situation, you can at least get a good amount of stage pressure. While he doesn't really have any extraordinary noteworthy tilts or aerials, and while his speed is kind of lackluster, everything he has kind of does their job. And I guess that's something that not every single character says they can do. Let's move on to something he specifically excels at more than I'm going to say any other character in the game, that being his throws. Incineroar being a WWE wrestler type character, had better have some good throws, and yeah, he definitely does. His down throw is a great combo starter leading to up smash at 0% or aerials at later. His forward throw is a decent kill throw. Up throw is buffed to be actually a decent kill throw as well, doing really well on triplats, and back throw kills earlier than anybody else in the entire game. Even Ness has been dethroned, Incineroar definitely is the best throw character in the game. If you weren't convinced already though, he also has a side B, which is a command grab, that has a good amount of range, does a good amount of damage, can kill if he hits them behind him, or put people above him into a really bad situation, can be used on the ground or in the air, and just gives him overall another option to beat people that are shielding all of his spaced aerials. Again, really showing off that he is probably the best grappler type character in the entire game. For another important special, his neutral B, the Lariat, will actually help you get out of a lot of strings that heavies are notoriously bad at getting stuck in. As well, it'll just straight up beat a lot of other moves on startup, and it packs one heck of a punch from down tilt into this move, which can also lead into a stock quite often. Another combo breaker tool that is amazing for a big body is his down B Revenge. This is a counter starting on frame 3 that makes you actually take a little bit of damage yourself, but powers you up in damage and knockback to an incredible amount. This allows your side smash to kill as early as 15% sometimes, and can give you just huge comeback potential. Now, of course, if your enemy sees this counter coming, they can just wait for it and punish you, or just grab you, which gets rid of it, or do 30% of damage to you to get rid of the rage. But at least having an option to potentially get out of this disadvantageous position is appreciated, and as well giving you such a great comeback mechanic is really cool to see and really fun to use in matches. Finally, I wanted to mention that Incineroar has a notoriously awful recovery. In the last patch it was buffed, which is great, but it still isn't all that great. It just really isn't bad anymore. People thought this would hold him back from doing alright in competitive games, but honestly this isn't necessarily true even before the buff. While it was a hindrance, we still saw a lot of results of this character, and while he still may have trouble versus those that can edgeguard him perfectly like Pichu, he is currently anything but unplayable. Moving on to how to play Incineroar, the first thing you're going to have to remember about this character is that all his moves have a good amount of range and damage, but as well they have a good amount of startup and end lag. He can't just run around pressing buttons and hope to profit. You really have to make sure that you're putting thought into every single one of your offensive and defensive options, especially because if you mess up and you're put off stage or put above your opponent, you're going to be in there for a lot of pain. With this in mind, I feel like the best way to play Incineroar isn't to apply a ton of instant pressure like Pichu or Fox, but instead to slowly push your opponent near the corner through smart engagements, and once they're in the corner, destroy them with their limited options with one of your colorful kill moves or one of your grabs. When your enemy has no place to run, you got him. Now keep in mind this does apply to every other character as well, but I feel like on Incineroar this part is really a key point to his matchup that you have to focus on more than anyone else, so please keep this in mind and don't play dumb just throwing out hitboxes. Now, moving on to a more exact and exaggerated strategy that every character follows, but I feel like Incineroar needs to follow more than everyone else, is going to be focusing on a cycle of poking with tilts and aerials, baiting attacks, and grab punishing. Now, Incineroar, as I said many times by now, isn't the safest on shield, but in a lot of ways that can actually enable him to get a lot of grabs and make those even more useful because people will be shielding a lot, and that allows you to grab them a lot. The majority of the people will shield your attacks. So what you can do with this is just use some unsafe attacks, get people conditioned into shielding these, maybe get punished sometimes, but not that bad of punishes, and then when we have that, we got him. Go in with a grab or an attack that tags on a ton of percent, and net yourself a kill. A more jank strategy that you can also go for is one focused on revenge, and revenge can either be a key part of your strategy or something you just straight up ignore. I see a lot of players using it quite often to just get super early kills, sneak in a strong attack, and just kind of jank out their opponent, but oftentimes overusing this move can lead to predictability and allow you to be easily punished. Overall, I'd say stay light on the uses of revenge. I know it does look like it does great versus a lot of characters, but you can be punished quite easily and you can just, keep being grabbed again and again, except for against long-range projectile type characters. If those are being thrown out all the time, enjoy your free stacks, get close up, pressure them near the corner, and just kill them stupidly early because they've given you 3 to 4 stacks on your revenge. The final thing I wanted to say about this character is very key, and you have to keep it in mind while playing Incineroar or any other character like him. When you're playing anyone with a lot of early kills or combat potential, it is scary to play against you, and your opponent will honestly be a little bit shy in their options and a little bit safe in their options. This means that oftentimes what they're going to be doing is going to be focusing on the more defensive / less risky moves that they know they can probably spam out and not get punished for. Now, if you know these moves are coming though, because you use them all the time, you can actually move to a more bait and punish type playstyle, wait and predict their safe option, quote unquote, and then make them with that or overshoot their attack and hit them. Profit from your fear factor is the main thing I'm going to say right here. Realize that a lot of people will not be playing at the top of their game and try to just destroy people when they're making those mistakes or when they're just doing the same safe thing over again that really isn't safe if you see it coming. The first thing I'll tell you to do as an Incineroar main is to practice patience and also as well try to cool down a little bit. I know a lot of Incineroar mains are playing this character, they get really hyped with this character, but then maybe at the beginning of the game, it isn't really going all their way. So what they start doing, well, they just start to throw out attacks and hope they kind of work. They see all their power, they see the potential kills, they start throwing out side smashes, they start throwing out side Bs, grabs, just kind of out of nowhere, and it isn't really working for them because they aren't thinking about why they're doing this. They're just instinctively trying to go for something that will help them win the game. Honestly, at this point, look at yourself, say, hey, okay, I need to calm down, I need to play a little bit better, I need to be a little bit more patient, and if you can get yourself to do that, if you can really focus on yourself and stop yourself from making this really key mistake that I see a lot of Incineroar players doing, you're going to be doing a lot better, and in the end, honestly landing a lot more side Bs and F smashes than you'd ever get just by throwing them out all the time. The final thing that I'll say about playing Incineroar is that his recovery plain out sucks if you don't mix it up every single time and makes it the opponent doesn't know where you're going. With that said, practice every single different way to recover, from jump side B up B to side B fall down low, jump up B to side B air dodge to the ledge to jump side B, down B, counter your opponent's move, get back onto the ledge, whatever you can do. Your recovery is still bad even after the buff, so do every little thing you can to mitigate this weakness. Incineroar honestly has a lot of options to get back, and while they aren't great, make every single one of those count.
And there you guys go, those are all the reasons why you should be maining Incineroar. Now if you have a certain character you want me to cover next, comment down below, hashtag that character name, YOUShouldMain or WISM, and maybe hit the subscribe button / notification bell to actually see that particular guide when it finally comes out. As well, tell me personally why you like to play Incineroar, or why you're interested in this character now, or maybe if you've gotten any good results with this character, just kind of telling each other, hey, this character actually does kind of work. As always guys, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. At the top left screen right now is a card for a playlist of more Smash Ultimate videos, specifically on literally all the other Pokemon, I think except Jigglypuff, so if you want to see those, check those out. As always guys, thank you all for watching, and have a smashing day.